And we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome. This is Kirk Williams, Live Inspired Today, and episode 8. I'm very, very excited about today's, episode. And thank you guys for joining and being a part of what we have going on here on the Live Inspired Network. And if you guys are watching us on Facebook Live, on my personal Facebook page, YouTube. If you're going to listen to this on our Anchor podcast, we very much appreciate you being a part of all that we are doing. Again, we are doing this to help you succeed, to motivate, encourage, inspire you to be the best person, the best excellent person that you can be. And that's why we do this, and highlighting some phenomenal people in as we do that. And it is my pleasure to be here with you guys today. A couple of notes. I want to make sure that you guys understand that we are doing these videos, and I think we're almost on finishing up with our first group of sessions. We're going to go to 10 shows, and then we're going to change up a little bit. But we are number 8 right now. Also, I want you guys on Wednesdays, we always have our Live Inspired Book Club, Summer Book Club. We are on, we've been doing a lot of different things with our book club. 7 books is what we have. No, I'm sorry, 9 books. We have, and we're going to do a book on change coming up this Wednesday. So watch us, check us out on YouTube, on Facebook Live with our summer book club. Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we have those. So check those out. Now, without further ado, we are super excited to have this young, talented hip hop star, rising star, superstar, join the Live Inspired main stage. Stephen Joseph, he told me I can call him Stevie because I've known him for such a long time. But Stevie has been phenomenal in the hip hop realm here in Vegas. Grew up on the east side, Las Vegas, repping the east side. And, he's been a tremendous blessing to my life, even though he doesn't even know it, just by his positive attitude, by him supporting the different things that I've even done myself. And his family is phenomenal. Dad, mom, Stephen, Joe, and Deborah, they are great people. And I just love that he is here and going to talk to us a little bit about what he's been doing, his journey, how he got to where he got to. And I just want you guys to help me welcome to the main stage, Stephen, aka Stevie Joseph. Welcome to the main stage.
What's going on, guys? I'm super excited to have an opportunity to talk to Kurt. Me and obviously we've gone back for years on end. Back when I was playing basketball, he's been a mentor, helping me trying to get through that and giving me opportunities on the way to perform at some of his college fair events and job fair events. So it's been really cool to see how we've progressed over the years and where we are now. And I'm just excited to like I said, be on a platform where I can just talk and give my story and catch up with a good friend of mine. So.
Hey, absolutely. And you mentioned that you came and you participated in our college fairs, and I'm going to share this with everybody so they can see this little picture here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? So this is for everybody to get a picture of what this is. This is the first college fair that I hosted in Las Vegas. It's at the Cashman Center downtown. And Stevie came and he's like, hey, I asked him if he would come and do something for me because we needed to have some, activity, some energy going on to pump up students to get them excited about the college fair. And, Stevie's like, yeah, I can come out. I can do this. I'll be a part of it. And, we had the city of Las Vegas. They put this stage up for us. And it's I'm just going to try to zoom in so you can see. So there he is. You guys can see him. See him right there.
So funny story about that show. Wow. Like you need to send me this afterwards. Cause this was my first solo show ever.
Wow.
Like ever. So this is, if I remember correctly, this is like I was doing like sound check at this point. And then I remember being so nervous because like all of a sudden, so I got done with sound check, and then I was standing by my car. Then all of a sudden there was like 3 school buses that just pulled up full of kids, and there was I'm trying not to over exaggerate. There was at least like 150 to 200 kids out there. And if anybody's watching this, you have the videos or anything out there, because I don't, because my phone died. But there was a bunch of kids out there. I was so nervous. But this is wow. Yeah, send this to me afterwards. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you this. I dug that up, and I don't have a whole because I have a new phone too, so my phone died with the little videos that I had. But
Yeah.
I did have this picture, and I was like, I want to show this because from this to everything else that you're doing, man, it's been a journey. But I want to show it because hey, you got the guy right there passing out the waters right in front of you, and there's only a few kids here now, but this parking lot was full when we.
Yeah.
Like and it was just one of those cool things that I want to share with you guys. So that's kind of where we go back. That was in 2017, I believe it was October 2017 that we had that, and from then on, man, you've been just soaring. So tell us how you get involved with the music that you've been doing. But you know what? Let me just backtrack a little bit about before we jump into the music, man. You are an inspiration. What's your motivation? What's your inspiration behind just living life, man? Just doing what you do as a young African American Black man, but just as a man in and of yourself. What motivates you? What encourages you to get up in the morning?
I mean, my thing is that my parents, they worked really hard and to provide for me and my brother. And they've always made, when things were in the house, they were kind of down, they were kind of unsure, kind of like what 2020 is to a lot of people right now. They found a way to make it happen. And they've always shown me that no matter what, you can find a way to make things happen that you want to do, the goal you have. So with my music, I stand by, fulfill your gifts. And basketball was a thing when I was younger and I was playing basketball, and I was like, that's my passion. That's my passion. And it's funny because my parents were always like, nah, because they always saw me writing or doing like spoken word or, beatboxing or whatever it is. And they're like, nah, that's your passion. And so it took me a while, but once I got, to college, I was like, man, this is something that I feel like I'm really passionate about. I feel I can give my story to other people that don't know what to do or don't know how to start. I can tell them, hey, like I started from pretty much nothing. I had no prior knowledge of music besides listening to it, the stuff that I liked. And I was just like, I want to show people that you can start from nothing and, build from literally anything and continue to inspire others that don't have anything as well. So I like to just strive to, share my stories, share my brother's stories, share whoever's stories in my circle, and just motivate people to share their own stories as well.
Excellent. That's really cool, man. Very cool. And before we jump into your brother, because he's another phenom and incredible guy. But let's go back to basketball real quick because even your Instagram handle, I don't know if you have Twitter and all that stuff, but your Instagram handle is Stevie Got a J.
Yeah.
Right? So is that a basketball reference to your jump shot? Is that what I think I hear?
I'm so glad that you caught that because, that's definitely a basketball reference. And honestly, it's been like that for years. I just felt like it just rolled off the tongue. So I was like, I'm just keep it. But yeah, that's definitely a basketball reference. I just decided to keep it from, the high school days and then going into college. So I was like, all right, let's just keep it. So.
Oh, that's cool, man. I love it, man. Love it a lot because, hey, I'm a basketball guy. I've been playing forever. Still get down a little bit on the court every now and then when I can. But you were working on basketball, and I remember, your dad and I talking about you and really wanting you to get every opportunity. Now, maybe he knew that it wasn't your passion, but I love the fact that he still, and your family still supported you pushing forward and trying to do what you wanted to do. I think that's an incredible, statement of, I know that's not his passion, if that's, I can hear your dad saying, I know that's not his passion. However, I'm supporting my son with
Yeah,
what.
and my parents have always been like that. No matter what I've wanted to do, if I put in the effort towards doing it, they're fine. They're totally fine with it. Once they see I'm not fully putting 110%, not just 110% effort into it, that's when they tell me like, hey, you got to get on it, or maybe we should change paths, or maybe you're not doing this. But they've always been supportive, and they're probably even more supportive because I feel like I'm even more passionate about music than I've ever been with anything else. So they're super supportive. They've been supportive of anything I do, when it's football, basketball, doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they are good people, man. I miss them. And Stephen, if you guys are watching, or if you guys get this, make sure let's connect again. I'm talking to your dad right now. Let's make sure we connect again, because I miss you guys. I miss hanging out with you guys, and Nikki and I, my wife and I, would love to get with you guys again and just hang out a little bit. Just kind of just do that. So quick one. I just need to make sure I got that out there. So,
I'll be sure to text them after the show too. If they're not, they're probably already watching. But I'll just be like, all right, Kirk put out the memo. They want to meet up. So
yeah, please do. Good. So with that said, man, you are doing some phenomenal things musically, lyrically. Wow. What made you decide that was the thing that you want to do, and how did you hone your skills as far as dealing with your music, and how did you, and I know I'm asking a bunch of questions, but you just ask how you want to, but how did you decide that this is the platform, or this is the genre of music that you were going to do?
I've always been in tune with hip hop. Like hip hop has always been, which is kind of weird because my parents were more of a gospel background. They listen to a lot of Fred Hammond, John P. Key,
absolutely,
Kirk Franklin. Which is kind of inspired my style in a way how I present things story wise. But I've always had a love for hip hop music, and I got introduced to Christian rap. And then that turned into, the secular stuff that I listen to here and there. But from that, a combination of all those things and all those things that I took in, that's kind of developed my style. I'm also a fan, obviously, of like old school R&B, Erykah Badu, got Sade. I listen to everything. So a combination of all those things brought me to where I am today. And as far as like, how I started, I basically started when I was I started writing when I was like about 13, to be honest with you. And I kind of just, here and there wrote a couple lines, put them to the side, wrote a couple lines, put them to the side. And it wasn't until like my senior year in high school is where I started performing with other people, just on the side, had a verse here and there. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I was like, I don't know. I don't think this is not going to take off or anything. And then it wasn't after that. It wasn't until I graduated from my JUCO college while I was playing basketball. I basically wrote a whole album called My Apologies for the most part. And I was like, wow, I kind of have something here. So I let my brother listen to it. I let my parents listen to it. I let some of my friends listen to it. And they were like, this is really good. Like, and I was like, well, maybe I should, make it together, put it in an album. Sure enough, I put out the album, and then coming full circle, Kirk hits me up. So he's like, hey, man, got a college fair. That happened. Then I got to perform at the Hard Rock on the Strip with my good friends, G Bless, a.k.a. Gary Ward. He gave me the opportunities, and opportunities just started falling. And then usually when that happens, you don't fight that. You don't fight. Yeah, when things start to happen and fall in place, you don't push back and say, no, it was that time. So from then on, I just, things just started falling into place, and I was like, oh, maybe I can actually do this, and I've been doing it ever since. So
phenomenal, man, phenomenal, and I love that you just kind of went with it. Something just kind of happened. You were doing it. You were writing. Now it didn't just happen overnight, and you just kind of popped in. You were writing since 13, and then the ball started rolling. What I love the fact that you just didn't give up on it, or you just didn't say this is cool, but it's not. You kind of just let it happen, and you went with it. You didn't fight against it. You just say, okay, well, you love basketball. Yeah. You love basketball.
Yeah, at the time it was literally eat, drink, sleep, basketball. That was it. And I was like, there is no other way. There's nothing else. And then sometimes, and that's for the kids that are listening, is that sometimes what you feel like you're passionate about, kind of take a step back and like look at other things that you're talented with. It could be drawing, it could be, art, it could be spoken word, it can be, I don't know, it could be anything. Take a step back, especially when you're in high school. And I know it's hard because high school is like a different world for a lot of people. But when you take a step back and you're like, man, I'm good at this, or I'm good at, just experiment with different stuff, because that's what I wish I would have did in high school. I wish I would have had my first project when I was like 13 instead of, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's all a learning process. So I would just say, like, to anybody that's listening, just take a step back, find out what your purpose is, multiple purposes are, and then just go from there. So, yeah.
Excellent. And I really appreciate you saying that for those that are watching and looking at this right now. And what we're going to do now, though, I'm going to share, a little bit about one of the things that really stood out to me. One of Stevie's songs stood out to me. And I'm going to share that with you guys. We're going to watch it. We're going to listen to it. Then he's going to give us a little background on this story right here. So let's listen to this one. And again, Stay at Home Sundays, week number 1. Let's get it.
Yeah. Shout out, Miss Madu. Week 1. Stay at home. Wash your hands. Yeah. Joy told me don't think you in the hood now. All y'all making fake noise, but a pipe down, got the crown down. What I realized in my pastime, hand time, your time, my time, crunch time, all time, the gamers are sleeping. And y'all know the reasons. Y'all gonna leave for seasons. Now with the beef like a vegan. I know that looks deceiving. Look at me, mama, I'm eating. Back to back, repeating. Growing on, teething. That's your team and they eating. Look at the crowd and they up and they leaving. Plotting and scheming. Phones are silent up in the meeting. Dicing them up when we cook them with seasoning. One more saw it don't matter with demons. Killing our rappers don't leave me a reason. Easy. Ain't no one mess with Stevie. Coming out leaving any cheesy. Double up CCs. When I come up and they get number 1 of you others a Ouija. Closing my case. Out of my face. Looking for postman, this isn't the place. Shooting the drugs, this isn't my taste. All of you rappers are copy and paste. I'm so done with the face and the lies. 1 and the 2 and it isn't no tie. Claiming the spot and I'm glad that you tried. Aiming at me and playing the nice. Cause I'm a big dipper, east side man ripper, heat seeker, full-time hit maker. Pick up the pace, throw away verse with never a waste. 1 out of 1 they call them ace. Working on 2, this for the weight, this for the weight, this for the weight. All of these rappers to pick up their pace, yeah. This for the weight, this for the weight. Tell all these rappers to pick up the pace, yeah. Jeez.
All right, very cool, man. So let me just get out of this real quick. But tell us about that, man.
We hear it over and over from investors.
So,
get out of that. Sorry, hold on real quick. There we go.
Okay. That's all good. Yeah, so Stay at Home Sundays was just what we talked about earlier, just kind of making something out of nothing. It was at a point where I was in March, when everything kind of shut down for everybody. I believe at the end of March I had like 4 shows lined up, just back to back to back within a week and a half period. I was like, okay, the balls are rolling. I got shows, I'm doing interviews with certain people. Like, okay, it's starting to start. Did everything shut down? Everything. So I was just like, okay, sitting talking to my brother. I was like, what do we do? Do we just wait to drop an album? Like, we don't know when it's going to be a good time to drop an album. Like, do we drop more songs? And I was just like, let me do what I would do in basketball, off season. Work on your skills, hone your skills. Take a back seat to everything. And I kind of went into a writing boot camp where it was just like, all right, just write something. Write for a week to a beat, pick a beat, and write it. Just however it comes out, it comes out. I had some verses left over from like other things, and then soon enough I had like 6 or 7 songs written, and I was just like, this is cool. And I'm really into video editing. So I was like, all right, well, another one of my passions. I was like, let me take a back seat. Let me see. Maybe I can put videos to it. Maybe like 1-minute videos, little short videos. And I was like, man, what am I going to like? Okay, how do I put this together? And Jordan was just like, call it, Quarantine Sunday. And I was like, that's pretty good. I was like, but we like maybe we should change it because there's a lot of quarantine, maybe make it more positive. And I was like, we're at home, we're doing all the stuff at home. It's called Stay at Home Sunday. So every week for about 6 weeks, we put out a video where it's a freestyle over Erykah Badu. We did Reminisce Over You by CL Pete Rock and CL Smooth. We did a Timberland beat. We just did a bunch of different beats every week, and it took off like that. I think that was week 1 that you just showed. Yeah. Week 1, I put it up not knowing what was going to happen, and we went to my parents' backyard, and I was like, "Hey, Jordan, grab the camera," and that was all shot on my iPhone.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it wasn't like a fancy camera or anything. I said, Jordan, just turn, grab the camera, and we're gonna just do this. I edited it in a day, and then the next day we put it out, and it took off. This is probably the best video views wise I've ever put out at that time. So yeah, it just took off, and now we have a series called Stay at Home Sundays for however quarantine lasts. So
man, that's very cool. That's excellent, man. And again, it caught my attention because first of all, it's you. I know I've known you for a while, but the beat caught my attention because I love Erykah Badu, and I was like, oh wait a minute, what's Stevie doing with this Erykah Badu beat? And I'm like, whoa, this is phenomenal, man! I love this.
Yeah, it was one of those things where that's another reason why we picked that beat, because we wanted to do something not so much that was so much current, but we wanted to get everybody involved because everybody knows who's Miss Badu is. Like everybody, if you're a part of hip hop, R&B culture, or just alive in general, everybody knows who Erykah Badu is. So we were like, all right, let's just go ahead and do this and then see how it goes. And then sure enough, I was like, oh, okay, well, they like that one. Okay, let's give them Pete Rock and CL Smooth. And then it was funny because one of my family members, I won't say what his name was, but he was like, "Oh man, you doing Pete Rock, CL Smooth? I hope you come with it because that's a classic." And I was like, "I'll do my best." He ended up liking it, but it was one of those. It was fun for me because it was like a competition. It was like, how can I outdo myself every week? How can I get better every week and outdo myself from the previous week? So no, it's fun, man. I don't know how many other ones we're gonna do, but we've got 7 out now. So.
Man, that's phenomenal. That's incredible, and I love the fact that you were able to, pivot. And we talked about that earlier. How we have to change, we have to pivot, we have to do some things differently in this environment that we are living in now. But you still use something that you would do previously. You mentioned that if you were playing basketball and if you were in an off season, you would have to go practice. You would have to go do some things. You have to go get in the lab. Is what we like to call the gym.
Yep.
Lab. So that you took that and you did it with your music. You got into the lab. You started working on your craft. I love the fact that you did that, and I think that's an inspirational type of thing that anyone should be able to do when they are tasked with they find themselves in a situation where they can't do what they normally would do. Mm-hmm. Change and work on your stuff, right? Whether it's music, whether it's doing public speaking, whether it's your writing, no matter what you're doing, I think it's really important for you to hone your skills, work on your craft when no one is watching, right?
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is like, that's a great point. What you said, work when nobody's watching. Because right now at this point in time, everybody's kind of at a standstill, and it's like, nobody has a foundation. It's like, so what are you going to do to work and rebuild your foundation? Are you going to rebrand yourself? Are you going to work to be, the better version of you before quarantine happened? And that's what we did. It's a funny thing because I literally was over at my parents' house a week ago, and my dad was like, how much money did you spend on like the Stay at Home Sundays videos? And I was like thinking to myself, I was like, oh, we probably spent some money doing some stuff. And then I went through every week. Grand total of money that we spent for the Stay at Home Sundays, $3.46.
What?
So if that's a story, if that's not a story for somebody that's like looking to get started, you don't even need $3.46, honestly. But that's all we used to make those videos. So if you can scrounge up the effort and the creativity and just look up stuff and try to, test things out, you'll be on the right path for sure. So, yeah.
Excellent. Man, that's phenomenal. $3. I mean, shoot, I guess y'all went and got some Happy Meals or something like that. No, actually, Happy Meals cost more than that.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, that's really cool. Now you mentioned your brother Jordan. Again, I know the family. I know Jordan, and tell me a little bit about what his role is in this whole music, thing that you guys got going on. What does Jordan do with you guys?
Yeah, so my brother, he's my producer. He's made everything that I've put out for the most part. He's contributed to all my projects. He's my go-to guy when I like have an idea or a concept. And it's really cool because obviously he's my brother and it's an in-house kind of thing. So he'll tell me if I'm off, I'm off. If I'm on, I'm on. He's straight, blunt, no filter, no anything. But he's made all my beats so far, and he's going to continue making all my beats, until he goes solo. But until he wants to go solo, because he's really the star of the show, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's really cool. And the thing about my brother is the special thing about my brother has autism, and he has Asperger's syndrome, which is it's on the spectrum of autism, but it's cool to see him fulfill his gifts through music because he's been more attached to music than I ever have. He hears things that I don't hear because of his Asperger's, and it's amazing to see. It's not a hindrance; it's more of a enhancement to what we do because he hears things, he hears sounds, he's able to do things over and over again without getting tired. He's just fully invested to what we do music-wise, and I think it's a real testament and a story that a lot of people can gravitate to for the people that have kids that have autism, or if they have autism themselves, that it's not a hindrance, it's more of a, we call it a superpower. So for us.
Awesome, man. That's incredible. That's amazing. I love that. I'm glad you brought that out because for our family, and my wife is a speech therapist, and we have a clinic too. And a lot of the young kids that come through that clinic have autism or they're on the spectrum. So it's really encouraging, inspiring, I would say. And I know I have Live Inspired on here, so I say it a lot, but it is inspiring because, sometimes individuals that are on the spectrum are kind of written off, like, hey, you know what, you can't do this. There are roadblocks, but you guys are a great example of utilizing the gifts and talents, the abilities that God has given you, and no matter where you are, you're using those things, and it's being blessed. It's being you guys are working it together, and it is not a hindrance, but it's actually, like you called it, a superpower. And I think that's phenomenal that you can say that that's a superpower, and that's going to motivate others in that same situation to say, hey, you know what? If Stephen can do it, I can too. And that will help. And hopefully a lot of people will be able to watch this and pass it on to others, because it's important for you guys to understand that this is not a hindrance, but this is actually a blessing that can motivate you to do phenomenal things in this world, what you were meant to do.
Yeah, I told Jordan, I said, if it wasn't for him, I'd still be on probably song number 2 or 1 and still trying to figure out how everything works. And I mess with him, and he always says, you need me. And I'm like, yes, I do. I do need you. I do need you. So no, it's been a cool journey. And like I said, we're just getting started. And like I said, seeing the growth between the both of us, it's just a great, and then giving him an outlet to be able to share what he's passionate about too is just phenomenal. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I wanted to, we're kind of going to make sure that we don't take up too much of your time, because I know your time is precious. But I know we all definitely have this COVID-19, this pandemic type of thing that's happening in our world. But, we also have what has been going on in our world, and it's all this racial disparity, these issues with, Black Lives Matter, some different things. And you and I both, we're young Black men. I'll still call myself young, although I'm a little older. Yeah, I'll take that. But we've had some different things in our lifetime right now that we're dealing with, and just wanted to get your perspective on that, and how we can then grow and have the conversation about what needs to happen in the future. How do we push forward? How do we move beyond what has happened 400 years ago until today? And how do we move the conversation forward? And I think it's important for us to have it, but I want to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you said that, because my last stay-at-home video was basically about what we're talking about. It's called Make It Home Sunday, and it's basically about the perspective of me. My experience of getting pulled over by the police and basically being stereotyped for being somebody else that I'm not. And but I basically made it for people to have conversations in their own homes, because we live in an age right now where people like to have conversations with people that they don't know across the world, and it doesn't really translate. But if me and I show you that it's happened to me, and it's a family member that doesn't understand what's going on, but I show you that it's happened to me, it kind of sits a little bit better. So I've always encouraged people to have the conversations in their own homes, to start there, because having a conversation with somebody else on social media that you don't know, it's not going to register. So start the conversation about social injustice. Start the conversation about slavery 400 years ago. Start the conversation about going out and voting. Like, all these different things that we just brush off. This is why we're here, because we didn't, have the conversation with the people that we're around. So, and it basically challenged me to take in the stuff that I haven't been doing. Have my voice in the Black community, being a Black man in Vegas, or just in the world in general. How can I go out and serve the community? How can I go out and help, teachers, artists, other spokespeople for the Black community? How can I go? I haven't been doing enough. So it's really open, with the stuff that's going on right now. It's really opened my eyes up to, one, it's gotten the world to slow down because of the COVID stuff.
Right.
But this is probably the first time in my lifetime, I can't speak for other lifetimes, but this is the first time in my lifetime that I've experienced this big of a, social justice uproar. Like, it's never been like this in my lifetime. And I'm pretty sure I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, yeah, it's been like this, but the fact that social media and all this stuff, it's huge.
Right.
Everybody to sit and really have the conversation. So I guess the biggest thing for me is trying to encourage people to have conversations like this in their own homes, because that's where it starts. It doesn't start on the internet. It doesn't start on social media. It doesn't start it starts in your home. Yeah.
Fantastic. Phenomenal. And with that said, we are going to share your what is it called? Make It Home Sunday.
Yeah.
We're gonna share this, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about it.
People push back, fighting out will to live. If you think there's nothing wrong with the all lies negative, but let me put you in a situation you probably get. It was Sunday afternoon in the summer, so fairly warm. You about to hit the church, get to work in the needed form. With your partners and your girl, ain't too far from the daily norm. Little did you know, it was calmer before the storm. You stroll up at the building, someone mentioned that it's 12:08. That means the service almost over and you came too late. Tell your people that you're sorry and you mixed up dates. As you stroll back to your car, planning to relocate. There's more cops in the spot than usual. Someone in the group mentioned break-ins a week ago. Thinking you protected and your safety is their approach. But you fit the description, they watching you on the low. But you mind your business with your people, hopping back in the ride. You got your girl and all the homies, ain't got nothing to hide. You pull out, you start your voyage back to where you reside. But police put on sirens, cut you off by surprise. The cops sit down and don't believe that the car is yours, knowing that they watch you getting out of the car before. You start to bleed your pants as they reach for the gun and more. Then he yells for your keys to place them right on the floor. Then he turns and asks, do you know what this looks like? You think it to yourself, this a cop like an insight. You believe it's not your car and you know that it's not right. So you reach for purple, make a move and it's good night. Now you sitting frozen, so much anger, why this happened to me? Just a man with no record and 2 college degrees. If I die, what's the storyline you think they believe? Skew my image and I know it won't be favoring me. All the problems you enjoy that I deal with, yes, the same black man you held as an infant. Also the same black man that you went to school with. Can tell you that I'm past. They stuck in their ways and they probably will never grow unless we push conversation, continue to set the tone. Lies moving is to show that we're alone. If the song applies, don't be scared to pick up the phone. Uncomfortable, probably so, but a message you gotta know. Put your bias to the side, cause we got a long way to go. We gotta make a change now. Tomorrow is not for show, cause I could be the one to lose my life and not make it home.
Very, very cool, man. Very cool. So, man, Stevie, that's just wow. One of those. That's just one of those that really struck a nerve with me, man. When I saw that, and I love the graphic too. It wasn't a lot, but it was a lot. Because even just from the camera angle, being with you right in front, and then it pans out, and then you see the blood spot. And I love it because you mentioned earlier, and you mentioned that this is, these songs and these things come from some experiences that you've had, right?
Yes.
Right? That you said they come from some experiences.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it was one of those things. It literally, that experience happened in, I won't say what church, but it was a local church, and it was one of the bigger churches in Vegas. And I had showed up late to a service. I was with my girlfriend, a couple other people that were in my circle. We showed up to go watch somebody perform at the church that had been performing at the church, and we showed up late. There was a lot of cops in the area, and we were kind of suspicious. But then one of my friends that was performing, he was like, "Yeah, they had like a lot of break-ins and they're keeping on high alert." So I was like, "Okay," I didn't think nothing about it. I was like, "Okay, they're watching out for my car," those things. But it soon escalated to, "Hey, is this your car?" And it was crazy because the police officer asked me, "Is this your car?" And I'm in my car. Like it was one of those things. Like I have the keys. But long story short, man, it was just one of those experiences where it was just like out of body. It was like, why is this happening to me? Now, when I wrote it, it was one of those things. There's a lot of different people giving their opinions on the police and stuff. And for me, I'm not against the police at all. I believe they're here to, protect our safety and stuff like that. But when there's a certain demographic that wears a badge that, is, stereotyping somebody, that's where kind of the fall off is. And so that's what happened to me that day. And I got encouraged to write it because I was seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook with people in my circle that were saying racism isn't real. Well, he probably deserved it. That type of thing. So it brought me back to that situation. And I was just like, well, would you say that if it was me? If I was in trouble or if I had gotten shot? So it wasn't a general message to the masses. It was more to the people that were in my circle that were saying those things. It was just like, okay, if you saw me on Fox News or CNN or anything like that, would you say that about me? You know me.
Right.
You know me. Why would you, what I'm saying? It was one of those things. So I just wanted to make sure that, one, I wasn't overstepping a boundary where it was just like, the normal narrative where a lot of people take is like, oh, I hate cops and stuff like that. I didn't want to take that narrative. I wanted to give my story and what happened to me. So that way you can be like, wait, if this happened to him, maybe it is real. Maybe this does happen to, people of color in our circle, instead of saying, oh, they deserved it or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. So I made the video. I told Jordan we were out there for literally 5 minutes, 5 minutes tops. And I told Jordan, I said, put the camera on slow-mo. I said, let me grab my Bible, and coming full circle, the $3 and whatever 48 cents that I was talking about was used for the video.
Oh wow.
That's the only time I bought anything for the video. It was used for, the props. So I told Jordan, I said, keep it rolling. You only have to do this for a little bit. And I said, this is probably the best way to do it without saying too much, but just giving everything all at once. So
amazing, man. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Again, that's just phenomenal, man. You guys are a wonder. You guys are wonderful, man. You guys are so. I just can't wait to see more, hear more. Love what you're doing, man. Tell us, tell everybody out there how we can get in touch with you, how we can watch more, how we can listen more, how we can support, how can we, make sure that you are the superstar that we already know you are, but we want to make sure your bank account reflects that at some point. You know,
Yeah, really.
your fame reflects that, because I think it's important for good people to be on a great platform. I believe you're good people, so we want to do our very best to help you. So how do we get in touch with you? How do we support?
So you can find me, I guess let's start from the top, on Facebook, because I know a lot of people watching this on Facebook. Stephen Joseph, just type in Stephen Joseph. That should be like the first or second one. Not Senior, because that's my dad, but you can add him too. But it's just Stephen Joseph. And then on Instagram, Stevie Gotta J. So Stevie, Stevie, Gotta Gotttajay. On Instagram and Twitter. And then on Apple Music, you just type in Stephen Joseph, Spotify, Stephen Joseph, SoundCloud, Stephen Joseph. So if you just find one, all my links are kind of intertwined in between all those social media. So yeah, hopefully some new stuff coming soon, and we'll just keep pushing. But I appreciate you guys' support.
Fantastic. And we appreciate you coming on, man. I know these are different, are weird, are different, but I believe, again, it's important for me, two things. One, to make sure that I'm supporting those that really have an inspirational story, are inspirational, are encouraging, that we can then share with somebody else that needs to hear what you have to say. Someone needed to hear and see those videos that you guys made, and somebody needs to see the rest of it. They need to hear it, and then they might need to connect with you. So that's the whole reason for the Live Inspired Today platform, this main stage, is to make sure that you are supported and that you then can be, a catalyst for helping somebody else be successful because they've connected with you. So really, truly appreciate you being on the main stage with us today, man. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem, man. This is fun. I had a great time. Like I said, hang in there, everybody. 2020, we're halfway through it, a little bit more than halfway through it. Hang in there, and don't forget to fulfill your gifts, man.
Absolutely. And with that said, hey, everybody, thank you very much for being here on the Live Inspired Today show. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We also do podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts. I think we're all Apple as well. So make sure you get in touch with us on Live Inspired Network. That's where you can find us. And until the next time, stay encouraged, be encouraged, and stay positive, and always be inspired, because life is good and we want you to be successful in it, and we'll do everything that we can to help you do that. With that said, thank you very much, Stevie. Thank you, everybody else, for joining, and we'll see you next time on Live Inspired. Have a great day, everybody.